Okay, guys, so we are on part 3 of The Sound of Thunder. And if you are following, I am on the top of page 5. Pupil is joining me for a minute because he cannot be trusted on the floor because this is my second time having to start this video because he is trying to climb through garbage. So just ignore him chewing my fingers. So if you are following again, I'm on page 5 and I'm on that first paragraph. So where we left off, Travis was just warning Eccles about all of the things that could change in the future if he was to, quote, go off the path, right? And we're going to talk a lot kind of towards the end of this story of what is the path. Now, literally, the path is a floating kind of platform that is above the ground so that they don't have to squish any bugs or step on any flowers or get in the way of anything else, of all that idea of if you were to kill a mouse, you were to kill 10,000 mice and all of the future generations related to those mice. So that literal floating path is to keep everybody from touching the ground. We're going to talk about kind of this, what else is the path in our lives. Again, apologies, Pupil's tail is now going in and out of the video. So he just really wants to join us for class today. What are you doing? Dude, seriously. Okay. So where we left, Travis was explaining that to Eccles, and he tells him that the machine, the path, your clothes, your bodies were all sterilized before the journey. He talks about how they wear oxygen masks over their face so that any bacteria that's in their breath doesn't get introduced out of time. So they're kind of taking all of the precautions they can. And that is interesting because it juxtaposes the fact that Eccles is super careless from everything that we've seen. And if we go back to the word juxtaposes, which I'm 100% sure maybe 2 of you remember and everybody else has forgotten, so I'll just kind of go over it again. Juxtaposition is when 2 things kind of start off similar and then end up very different for the purpose of comparing and contrasting. So we have super overcautious Travis to very careless Eccles are going to be our juxtaposition. So where we begin this section is Eccles asking, how do we know which animals to shoot? They're marked with red paint, said Travis. Today, before our journey, we sent Lesperance here back with the machine. He came to this particular era and followed certain animals. Studying them? Right, said Lesperance. I tracked them through their entire existence, noting which of them lives longest. Very few. How many times they mate? Not often. Life's short. When I find one that's going to die when a tree falls on him or one that drowns in a tar pit, I note the exact hour, minute, and second. I shoot a paint bomb that leaves a red patch on his side. We can't miss it. Then I correlate our arrival in the past so that we meet the monster not more than 2 minutes before he would have died anyway. This way, we kill only animals with no future, that are never going to mate again. You see how careful we are? So again, we're at this idea that they are super careful. They are not killing animals that are going to be food for anything else. They are not killing animals that are going to mate and have children. They are not killing animals that kind of are involved in the timeline in any way past the moment that they would have killed it. So they're looking for animals that are going to die of natural causes, whether that's a tar pit or a tree falling or old age. And then they kind of jump in and they kill it right before it would have died anyway. But if you came back this morning in time, said Eccles eagerly, you must have bumped into us. Our safari. How did it turn out? Was it successful? Did all of us get through alive? Travis and Lesperance gave each other a look. That'd be a paradox, said the latter. Time doesn't permit that sort of mess. A man meeting himself? When such occasions threaten, time steps aside, like an airplane hitting an air pocket. You felt the machine jump just before we stopped? That was us passing ourselves on the way back to the future. We saw nothing. There's no way of telling if this expedition was a success, if we got our monster, whether all of us, meaning you, Mr. Eccles, got out alive. Eccles smiled palely. Cut that, said Travis sharply. Everyone on his feet. They were ready to leave the machine. So we have another instance on page 5 of Eccles and his worry, right? He's still asking, even as he's in the machine, oh my goodness, do we live through this? Do we live through this? Do you know? And he gets kind of this answer that I'm 100% sure he doesn't like, which is we don't know. Because he likes to think of time travel as a know-all situation. He keeps sort of bringing that up. You guys must know. You've been here already. You must know. You know how this works. You must know. But the thing is that what they're saying is that time doesn't allow you to cross itself. That sort of paradox would create some kind of mess in time, kind of like we were talking about the Flash the last time that we talked. So time purposely keeps them all apart. And again, Eccles is worried. He is once again just, am I going to survive? What am I going to do? And it kind of brings us back to, does Eccles belong on this trip? So now I am page 6. The jungle was high, and the jungle was broad, and the jungle was the entire world, forever and forever. Sounds like music and sounds like flying tents filled the sky, and those were pterodactyls, soaring with carnivorous gray wings, gigantic bats out of delirium and night fever. Eccles balanced on the narrow path, aimed his rifle playfully. Stop that, said Travis. Don't even aim for fun, damn it. If your gun should go off. Eccles flushed. Where's our Tyrannosaurus? Lethbridge checked his wristwatch. Up ahead. We'll bisect his trail in 60 seconds. Look for the red paint, for Christ's sake. Don't shoot till we give the word. Stay on the path. Stay on the path. They moved forward in the wind of morning. Strange, murmured Eccles. Up ahead, 60 million years, Election Day is over. Keith made president, everyone's celebrating, and here we are, a million years lost, and they don't exist. The things we worried about for months, a lifetime, not even born or thought about yet. Safety catches off everyone, ordered Travis. You shoot first, Eccles. Second, Billings. Third, Kramer. So we've got Eccles kind of going on this little existential crisis, right? Oh my God, everything I knew is not even created yet. The world that I know is not even born yet. And he's thinking all these important thoughts. And Travis kind of just interrupts it with, take your safeties off, we're ready to go. He's not entertaining all of those little conversations, right? I've hunted tiger, wild boar, buffalo, elephant. But Jesus, this is it, said Eccles. I'm shaking like a kid. Ah, said Travis. Everyone stopped. Travis raised his hand. Ahead, he whispered. In the mist. There he is. There's his royal majesty now. The jungle was wide and full of twitterings, rustlings, murmurs, and sights. Suddenly it all ceased, as if someone had shut a door. Silence, a sound of thunder. Out of the mist 100 yards away came Tyrannosaurus Rex. Jesus God, whispered Eccles. Shh! It came on great, oiled, resilient, striding legs. It towered 30 feet above half of the trees. A great evil god folding its delicate watchmaker's claws close to its oily reptilian chest. Each lower leg was a piston. 1,000 pounds of white bone sunk in thick ropes of muscle, sheathed over in a gleam of pebbled skin like the mail of a terrible warrior. Each thigh was a ton of meat, ivory and steel mesh. And from the great breathing cage of the upper body, those two delicate arms dangled out front. Arms with hands which might pick up and examine men like toys. While the snake neck coiled and the head itself, a ton of sculptured stone, lifted easily upon the sky. Its mouth gaped, exposing a fence of teeth like daggers. Its eyes rolled, ostrich eggs empty of all expression save hunger. It closed its mouth in a death grin. It ran, its pelvic bones crushing aside trees and bushes, its taloned feet clawing damp earth, leaving prints 6 inches deep wherever it settled its weight. It ran with a gliding ballet step, far too poised and balanced for its 10 tons. It moved into a sunlit arena, wary, its beautifully reptile hands feeling the air. My God! Eccles twitched his mouth. It could reach up and grab the moon. Shh! Travis jerked angrily. It hasn't seen us yet. It can't be killed. Eccles pronounced this verdict quietly, as if there could be no argument. He had weighed the evidence, and this was his considered opinion. The rifle in his hand seemed a cap gun. We're fools to come. This is impossible. Shut up, hissed Travis. Nightmare. Turn around, commanded Travis. Walk quietly to the machine. We'll remit 1/2 your pay. I didn't realize it would be this big, said Eccles. I miscalculated, that's all, and now I want out. And I am going to stop there. So what we see is Eccles, when he's actually faced with this animal, can't move. He says he feels like his rifle has become a cap gun. It's become a toy. He's looking up at it and he's like, it can't be killed. He says it as a statement. It's not, I can't kill it. It can't be killed. It's so tremendous. It is so massive. It is so out of this world, out of this time, that for him, for that moment, there is no ability for this animal to be killed. Not just be killed by me, be killed in general, right? And Travis is like, dude, shh, be quiet, shh, shut up. It didn't see us yet. You're ruining this for everyone. Walk yourself back to the time machine. I will give you half of your money back if you just don't act like a fool and go back there, right? Now, we are going to have a discussion on this section tomorrow, so make sure that you go over it. A couple things that I want to point out is this notion that if we notice, a path is always capitalized. Whenever they talk about the path, it is always capitalized. There is also all of this awe around the Tyrannosaurus. They call it Your Majesty at one point. Eccles talks about just how tremendous it is and how in awe he is of it. We have another example of Eccles' recklessness. When he first steps out, he points his gun at some of the pterodactyls up in the sky, and Travis gets real mad, which goes to the old rule of don't point your gun at anything you don't want to shoot, because he thinks he's just pointing it playfully, but Travis is like, dude, don't even mess with that, because if you shot that thing, which is not one of the things that we're planning to kill, you could change all of history once over again, right? So we see kind of Eccles just messing with things, but we also kind of then see Eccles once again pulling back. So he goes between these two personalities, right? He is playful and almost a little bit careless. And then he is this kind of scared, withdrawn person at once. Like he has absolutely no idea what he's getting into. There's also that good moment of the jungle was high and the jungle was broad and the jungle was the entire world forever and ever. That was on page 6, which goes for setting. So we talk about kind of, again, this juxtaposition from the current where he lives in the United States, presumably in a city, because he talks about going to the offices. He talks about the parades and things like that. And then he kind of goes back into the past and he talks about how the jungle is just so dense and so huge that that jungle is forever. The jungle is the whole world. There's nothing in this time besides jungle. And we have that setting juxtaposition. And we're going to talk a little bit about our major conflicts. So remember for our discussion tomorrow, internal conflict, which is in somebody's head, so there's a conflict with themselves, and external conflict, which is outside of them, so conflicts between two characters, or a character and an outside force, such as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And that is where we're going to be for our discussion tomorrow. So watch this video, leave me a comment so I know that you watched it, and we're all good. Thank you.